Now let's talk about some of the common pitfalls of motion tweens. If you're following along, I'm working in 08_motion_tween_pitfalls.fla in the Chapter 7 folder in the Exercise Files folder. Throughout this chapter, you may have run into the problem where you try to create a motion tween and for some reason or another, it just doesn't work. Let's talk about why that happens. On the stage, I have two keyframes. And if I scrub the playhead, you can see it's a ball that starts out up and it moves down. So what I'm going to do is click in between the two keyframes, and then in the Property Inspector, I'm going to click the Tween dropdown. I'm going to choose Motion. Look at what happens in the timeline. Instead of that arrow that we love to see, there's a broken line. That's Flash telling you that the motion tween is not working properly. Now, occasionally, you'll see this in the timeline. It can definitely be frustrating. Let me show you how to fix the problem. Typically, if a tween ever doesn't work, it's because one of the rules for that type of tween has been broken. So the first thing that you want to ask yourself is, am I creating a shape tween or a motion tween? If the answer is motion tween, the objects on both keyframes need to be symbols. Let's go to frame 1 and check if that's the case. On frame 1, I'll select the ball on the stage, and in the Property Inspector I can see that it's not a symbol, but rather a shape. Let's go to frame 10. Going to select the ball on frame 10, and notice also in the Property Inspector that it is not a symbol, but it is a shape. Another reason why motion tweens won't work are if you have multiple symbols on the same layer. The first thing you want to do is make sure the keyframes you're working with for your motion tween both contain just one symbol. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to frame 1, I'm going to select the ball on the stage, and I'm going to convert it to a symbol. I'll do that using the keyboard shortcut F8. For the symbol type, I'll choose graphic. For the symbol name, I'll type GFC ball with a capital B. I'll choose top left registration and click OK. So now the ball on the stage is a graphic symbol. If I deselect the ball by clicking on the pasteboard, notice the tween line is still broken. That's because the object on frame 10 is still a shape. So we'll have to go to frame 10 and modify the artwork on the stage so the ball is a symbol instead of a shape. But for motion tweens, you need to animate the same symbol. So in other words, if I had a symbol that was a red ball and another symbol that was a blue ball, the red ball can't tween and morph into the blue ball symbol. The red ball symbol would have to be on frame 1 as well as frame 10. So let's say this ball is in the exact position that I want it to be. It's a shape instead of a symbol. One way to make sure the symbol is in the exact same spot as the shape is to select the shape on the stage and note its XY coordinates in the Property Inspector. This shape has an X coordinate of 174.5 and a Y coordinate of 345.2. What you can do is write those values down. You can write them down, or if you have an excellent memory, feel free to memorize them. And then you can delete the ball on the stage by pressing the delete key on your keyboard, and then click and drag an instance of GFC ball onto the stage, and then set its X and Y positions in the Property Inspector. Going to set its X position to 174.5, and I'm going to set its Y position to 345.2. After you type the value in the Property Inspector, you can press Enter or Return on your keyboard to accept the change. And notice that the ball moves to exactly where it was, and in the timeline, you can see that you have an arrow indicating that you have a working motion tween. Let's test the movie and see that the motion tween is working. Command Return on the Mac, Control Enter on the PC. And there's our ball animation. So there's a look at overcoming some of the pitfalls of motion tweens.